take a look at this. Remember, it's the top 6 that qualify as it stands. Toronto, 9th. They're on 27 points, and they haven't really got any more games in hand. Look at that. And according to our SPI, 18% chance of the defending champions to make it into the playoffs. That's 82% chance that they won't make it.
Oh, quick math.
Ali, will they?
No.
Throughout the course of the season, I've been saying they're going to go on a run, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to go on a run,
Yep.
they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to go on a run, and they're going to make the playoffs. Well, the truth is that even if they go on a run, they're not going to make the playoffs. And it's because now they're running out of time in terms of the matches. When you look at DC United, they have the same number of matches played. Well, DC United has 2 games below what Toronto has and the same amount of points. And so it just feels that when you have the games in hand, and then it just feels that there's just not enough momentum for Toronto. You keep waiting for this team to turn it around. You keep waiting for this team to have a reaction, and the reaction just simply is not coming.
That's it, because obviously we gave them a pass because of the slow start, because of the CONCACAF Champions League. And as Ali said, you kind of thought, right, now they're going to make up those games in hand and get some points.
No.
Why haven't they? They've still got the same personnel.
Well, the simple reason is they've had a lot of injuries, and the back four. I mean, if they defend like they did last night for the rest of the season, they're going to go up nowhere very, very quickly. They're defending.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
No.
No. Definitively no.
You can't turn it around. The way that we're expecting them to, they can't turn it around. It's impossible.
Stevie?
No.
Wow.
They're actually thinking the way that we've all been thinking all season. They've been waiting for it. The players have been waiting for it. Everybody at Toronto has been waiting for it. It doesn't work that way. You have to make things happen. And they haven't done it, and they don't look as though they're capable.
And the thing is that when you got to go chase the points late in the season, everybody else is chasing points too. So it's not like all of a sudden now you feel like, okay, hey, let me tell you something. Here you go, Toronto. Go ahead and go on in the playoffs. It's not the way it works. The New England Revolution, they need to get points. Montreal need to get points. Philadelphia need to stay in there. DC United is chasing points as well. And they're all playing against each other. So if you're Toronto, good luck.
Today saw the draw for the group stages of the Champions League. I'll tell you what, it's a beauty. Some cracking matches right across the board. It's really good, isn't it, Ali?
Yes, it is. And when you look at groups like the Barcelona group, the PSG group, and the possibilities and what could happen in some of these matchups, and then you just have excitement and storylines everywhere. Juventus going to Manchester United, the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, that's the storyline there. Is Jose Mourinho around for that to happen? That's the storyline in itself. The fact that Valencia can create problems with Manchester United. Everywhere you look at, there is something competitive outside of Group D. Please do not look at Group D because it's not pretty to look at. Other than that, exciting.
Talking points everywhere, isn't it, Steve? From a neutral's point of view, this is what you want from a group stage, because like the last 2 years, they've been a bit flat, a bit predictable.
Yeah, I mean, normally we're sitting here going, well, I can't wait for the knockout stages because we know who's going through from each group, blah, blah, blah. That is just not the case. There are probably 4 groups where you've got 3 real teams fighting it out for the top 2 places. So, you know, for the everyday fan who just loves watching any sort of games of football, it's perfect. Now, for individual fans like myself, clearly I would have loved Liverpool to have an easy draw. Well, that is not the case. I mean, could it have been any tougher? PSG, Napoli and Liverpool, my goodness. But great to watch.
And the great thing about that, as we welcome Julien Laurent into the show, is that the first game of the group stages for those sides will be Liverpool against PSG at Anfield.
Yeah, maybe quite an incredible occasion for sure. First, for the 2 coaches. I mean, Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel are very good friends. They followed each other's path since becoming managers at Mainz first, and then obviously at Borussia Dortmund. Now they will face each other in the Champions League as well for the first time in that competition. You have the 2 best front 3 in world football right now with Salah, Mane, Firmino against Neymar, Cavani and Mbappe. And you've got goals everywhere in those games. Like you said, the opening match in that group, but also the second match from the end, which could prove even crucial on that 5th match day. So it's going to be fascinating, that group C.
It's all about the front 3 in it, for both of those.
Yeah.
For all 3 of them.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's look, it's a mouth-watering prospect. I mean, I know Stevie's a little bit disappointed with Liverpool getting in that group, but I mean, just look at the teams. The games are going to be absolutely spectacular.
Do you agree with the bookies? PSG and Liverpool will go through?
I tell you what, you can't. I don't think it's as cut and dried like that. I mean, Napoli, they seem to be very, very good this season under Ancelotti. So I don't think it's cut and dried like that. As Stevie said, in seasons gone by, it was, we've no need to wait. We just get through to the second phase, but not with this group. Not with this group. And a lot of the groups as well, actually.
Are PSG the favourites to advance?
Yes, PSG are the favourites to advance, which then makes, in my opinion, match day 6 critical. When you think about Liverpool at home against Napoli, that may just decide who goes with PSG. Now, I think PSG are the favourites because of the talent they have available. Now, Liverpool get hot the way they did last season, and now it's a different story altogether. The problem is that I think Liverpool can get hot. Napoli can get hot too. And it's a team that can attack and can create problems for Liverpool in the attack. But if you're PSG and you're sitting there and say, well, yes, we're the favorites, you better not overlook either Napoli or Liverpool. I think these teams are going to take points away from each other. In the end, it will be PSG and Liverpool just.
What percentage, Stevie, do you put on Liverpool advancing?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think clearly you're right, PSG are the favourites. But I think Liverpool are better than Napoli all round, no question. And so I can't figure out a percentage. I'm just telling you.
There are some questions.
I'm just telling you that if there was a game tomorrow between Liverpool and Napoli, whether it was at Anfield or whether it was in Napoli, I would expect Liverpool to win the game. So sort your percentage out from there.
All right, I will. I don't know why you have to get angry about my percentage question.
I'm just telling you.
I'm very serious again as well.
I know.
Big test, isn't it? First real test it will be for Thomas Tuchel. Jules.
Yeah, I mean, this is the toughest draw they've ever had in the Champions League, especially since the Qatari took over in 2011. Usually there was always one other big name with them, whether that was Bayern Munich or Barcelona or Real Madrid. But the other two teams were, easily beatable if you want. But this time to have 3 top teams in their group is going to be hard. Maybe it's a good thing for them to start hard compared to what they did before. It's also Carlo Ancelotti coming back to Paris, Edinson Cavani going back to the San Paolo in Naples. So there's a lot, like Ali was saying, there's a lot of storylines everywhere in that group too.
I do think that this is going to be difficult for all parties involved. PSV is not a team that you're just going to walk over. I think there's talent in that group, so they may just get a point here and there against Spurs and Inter. We don't know what the final version of Inter is going to look like, but in the attack, they can be a team that can score goals. Spurs is a team that I think needs to get this job done before the last match day because, oh, by the way, that last match day is against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. You got to go chase points there. Good luck. So if you're Spurs, you better get going before we get to match day 6.
It's another tantalising one, isn't it? As you say, it's out of the 3.
Yeah, it's kind of a mirror image of the PSG Liverpool group for me. Pretty much comes down to Spurs and Inter. And right now, I'll use the same analogy. If there's a game tomorrow, I'm backing Spurs over Inter Milan.
What percentage would you say?
I would say 60-40.
Oh,
how about that?
Well, there we go.
Hey, thought you were trying to be clever and catch me, yeah?
Well, not particularly. It wasn't a tough question initially. Spurs to go through?
I think so. I think they can take a lot of spirit from what they did last season in the qualifying group. Beating Real Madrid, I thought it was fantastic. This Pochettino with no signings, they seem to built confidence into the squad. Fantastic result against a questionable Man United at the weekend. But I think they will be buoyed with what they've got, with the depth of the squad. I think they'll go in with it with confidence.
But for Inter, Jules, obviously, they will fancy their chances as well.
Yeah, I think so. Although I think they would be the first one to admit that they're outsiders behind Barcelona and Spurs. And it's them going back to the Champions League. It's not really the group they would have loved to draw today for their return into the Champions League, but they will have a chance. Like Ali said, we don't know yet what the final Inter team will look like going into this Champions League in 3 weeks or so. So it'd be interesting to see what Spalletti does, but they will have a chance for sure, yeah.
Some of the back pages in England, well, of course, it's all about the return of Cristiano Ronaldo to Old Trafford. Juventus drawn in the same group as Manchester United. It's a fascinating group as well because it's not only Juve and United, but you've also got Valencia thrown into the mix there as well. And let's not forget, United couldn't get past Sevilla last season. And no question, when you take a look at the past year, Valencia have been better than Sevilla. Let's start off with you, Jules. This is far from ideal, is it, for Jose Mourinho and Manchester United?
Yeah, I think it's a tough draw. It's a tough job, obviously, because Juventus and Cristiano Ronaldo are there. Although the storyline of Ronaldo going back to Old Trafford is wonderful, and Paul Pogba coming back to Turin as well in many ways. But Valencia is one of those teams that you don't want to play against because it's going to be tricky. Marcelinho is doing a fantastic job last season with them. They strengthened their squad again this summer, although they lost some players, but they also bought a very interesting, some very interesting players. So it would be two very tough games for United. And like you said, Sevilla, who are not as good as Valencia, proved to be too good for United last season. So it'll be interesting to see what Valencia do to United this year. But they could certainly cause a big upset.
You feel match day 6 is absolutely huge at Mestalla.
And if you're Manchester United, you want to have this sorted out before you get to that point. Because you don't want to go to Mestalla, go and chase points. Let's just talk about Valencia for a second, because it's easy to fall in love with the idea, okay, well, what is going to happen with Manchester United? Well, Valencia is a team that a couple of weeks ago against Atletico Madrid looked very good. And look, a team that is talented, that can defend, that can attack, that has some balance to them. It is a team that, in my opinion, is far better than what Sevilla was last season. And that Sevilla team gave problems to Manchester United. We also have to project as to what Manchester United is going to be. And good luck with that, because we have no idea. And I don't think even Jose Mourinho knows exactly what he's going to get out of his team. That's a very dark place to be a part of right now. A team that doesn't quite know what it's going to be on the day. If you have to go to Mestalla to get results, I just don't like the chances of Manchester United. They should get through, but I just don't like the chances.
If I gave you $50, Ali, who would you put on going through in this group?
Juventus, number 1.
Yep.
Manchester United, number 2.
Stevie?
I would agree with Ali. I think it's huge. And actually, Manchester United must be delighted the way the games have come around. They play Young Boys and then Valencia before you play Juve twice.
Right.
Is actually absolutely perfect. So you win your first 2 games. It really just means that whatever happens against Juventus, anything you get is a bonus, and then you finish off.
But then what if you don't win those games, obviously?
Well,
That's
it
the other side
completely
of it.
turns on its head. But at the end of the day, when you've got a wish list, every single wish that they would have had has come true, as far as the way the fixtures have turned out.
What do you think,
Well,
Paul?
the wish list is the Mourinho sorts it out before the games come around, because what we're seeing of Manchester United at the moment, you can't put $50 on United doing anything.
You've got Valencia going through.
No, just let me finish what I'm going to say. Mourinho needs to sort out every aspect of this Man United club, because at the moment we have no idea who's coming out the blocks. We haven't. I mean, they get beat to.
But we know this, but can he do it? Can he turn it around?
Well,
I've got this $50 is here, Maris. Where are you putting it?
I know it. I'm gonna hang fire, because Mourinho has got to do some coaching. For once in his life, he's got to sort out this team. He's got to sort his back four. He doesn't know his best back four. You can't go into the Champions League not knowing your best back four, as you're going to get beaten. Now, should they go through? Yes, they should go through.
Right.
Will they go through? I don't know.
Jules, who have you got going through?
I would love United going through a second, but I do think Valencia will give them a lot of trouble. And if it all gets down to that last game at Mestalla, the atmosphere is going to be incredible. And Marcelinho and his boys will be really, really up for it. So I hope for United that it doesn't get to that point.
50-1 on.
Wow.
So they're going through.
They're alongside Roma, CSKA Moscow and Victoria Pilsen. Obviously, Real Madrid dominated the awards. Goalkeeper, Navas. Defender, Stevie, Sergio Ramos. The UEFA Midfielder of the Year, Modric. Ronaldo Forward of the Year. Ronaldo wasn't at the ceremony, as Luka Modric was named the UEFA Player of the Year. Ronaldo's agent took it well. It's what Jorge Mendes said. Football is played on the field, and that's where Cristiano won. He scored 15 goals, carried Real Madrid on his back, and conquered the Champions League again. It's ridiculous. Shameful. You got a point?
I don't think so, because if you just go back to that list of players that we just saw, they are all Real Madrid players. So to argue that Cristiano Ronaldo carried Real Madrid, I think belittles the quality of team that he had around him. When you look at Luka Modric and the balance of his year, he was also part of that team that won the Champions League. And he, by the way, had a tremendous World Cup. Now, People may say how much of a role does that play in those that are voting or not. I would suggest that Luka Modric's year was excellent, and to, again, take away from his achievement and his accomplishment to put your guy forward, it's petty and short-sighted from George Mendes.
Listen, the words he uses are wrong. You can understand he's upset that his man didn't win, but the words are completely and utterly wrong. On the other hand, I would agree with him. In my opinion, Ronaldo should have won it. And the way I separate Modric, who again was fantastic, and don't get me wrong, fantastic year. If Modric doesn't play for Real Madrid, they maybe could still have won the Champions League.
Right.
If Ronaldo doesn't play for Real Madrid, they don't win the Champions League. And that's how I separated it. And as good as Modric was and is, I think Ronaldo should have won it.
So you're not picking Real Madrid to win Champions League this season then?
Sorry? What's that got to do with this?
Well, you said that they don't win Champions League without Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo now with Juventus.
Yeah, Real Madrid will not win Champions League this year. And by the way, Modric might not be Real Madrid for the whole season either.
Oh, all right. Well, breaking news. Apparently.
Just telling you.
Where do you stand on this?
I think Jorge Mendes lacked a lot of class with what he said. I agree to a certain extent to what Stevie just said about Ronaldo and being so crucial in that campaign. I think he's good for football as well, that it's not always Ronaldo or Messi winning things, and that Luka Modric deserves this award for the great year he's had and the great season he's had, and for a player of his profile as well, that he's not a striker, that he's not scoring 50 goals a season. I think it's good that he gets this reward.
Hello and welcome to Extra Time. Thank you very much for your tweets. What is Steve Nichols' take on Craig's barbecue and lawnmower stories about him on Extra Time? In case you missed Extra Time this week, Craig relived the time that Stevie tried to build a barbecue, got so angry he threw it in the pond, and also the fact that he bought a new lawnmower and couldn't get it to work.
Correct.
And then that's when
love
Paul
to
Mariner suggested that he needs to look at the rule book.
He does. That's exactly what it is. Look at the
I
rule.
did. It's called a manual, by the way.
Oh,
and I
so-
did look at the manual, and I couldn't understand a word there. It made no sense whatsoever.
So then did you get a neighbour to help you, Stephen?
I did that.
How long did it take him for him to fix it?
Ooh. What's the shortest period of time you can take anybody?
A nanosecond.
It was a nanosecond. It was a lever.
Right.
You know when you see the old movies, there's a big lever that's like the side,
Yeah.
a stick of dynamite. That's how big the lever was. And it never occurred to me to pull it or push it or do anything with it.
What did you think the lever was there for?
Well, I had
For support.
Listen, I had no idea.
Look
And
at
I
the
thought,
rule book.
Just to lean on it, you know.
I looked at the manual
Look at
and it wasn't very helpful.
So is it working now?
Yeah, because the guy told me what to do.
Jules, do you have a lawn? Do you have a lawn in London?
As well.
Oh. Say that again. We didn't have your sound up.
I said I've got a garden in my house, but I've got a gardener
You've got a gardener?
coming to cut the lawn. I don't do it myself.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. How can you have a garden in your house?
He's got a big house.
Hey?
It's in the middle bit. Is it a small holding?
I should
I've got a garden in my house.
I should fly Stevie over to mow the lawn.
Hey,
Instead
that would
of
be highly
hoovering the
entertaining.
instead of hoovering the carpet, he rakes the sand.
Is that what you do?
That's how you rake it.
It's not the beach.
What is that? Are you in a bunker?
All right.
Jules, what looks to be the most entertaining group in the Champions League this season?
Not D.
I think the Liverpool, Napoli, and PSG one, albeit the fourth team not being that great, but those three teams, Napoli not under Mauricio Sarri anymore, but with Carlo Ancelotti picking up where Sarri left it, basically, and then obviously Klopp's Liverpool and Tuchel's PSG. I think it's probably for me the group where you have the most goals, the most entertaining matches, and again that the front three at PSG with Neymar, Cavani, and Mbappe, and the front three at Liverpool are just incredible.
We've talked about this a lot already, so I'm going to move on. You're the only Englishman on the panel, Paul.
Oh, what are you?
I'm not on the panel. I'm a mere host.
Ow.
I'm a mere driver.
Oh,
of
you
this
just
show.
asked the question.
Exactly.
He's
That's all
the
I'm
driver.
here to do.
He's the driver.
He's a driver.
You sure dominate and direct a whole lot. You're only the driver.
Drive on, driver.
There. Oi.
A lot of control.
Think there's an agenda against English clubs with the draw?
Agenda?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the fake draw and all that? No, absolutely not. What's
You're not
that
a
all
conspiracy
about?
theories with the hot balls and things.
No. Pardon?
Well, they say you got hot balls.
No. No conspiracy theory.
No, all the English teams have got tough draws.
Yeah, apart from City. City, come on, cruising. You don't believe it?
No, I think it's nonsense as well, Paul. I agree with you. Which match are you looking forward to the most, Ali?
Oh,
Wow. There's a lot of matches.
There is. We've got them all here.
Yes.
all year.
It's not coming from Group D, I'll tell you that much. It's not Porto, Galatasaray, Lokomotiv, and Schalke. I don't like that.
Right.
I do think the first one, PSG at Anfield,
Right.
that'll be interesting.
What are we at? 12? Is it 12-8?
Yeah,
96 matches?
I mean, there's a whole lot of matches to pick
96
from.
matches, Stevie. Which one are you most looking forward to?
It's tough. It's tough not to come up with that one.
Okay. Paul?
Man United, Juventus at Old Trafford.
Oh.
Just see what happens with Ronaldo. How many Juventus beat Man United by?
Is Mourinho still around for that match?
Ooh. Well, it depends when it is. Well,
It's going to take a while.
if it's next week,
How's your tooth now? Is your crown
killing
fell
me.
out?
Killing me. No, I've not got a crown. Not anymore. I've got to have one put in.
Yeah, that's why I said it fell out.
Well, he's saving, isn't he? He's saving up to get the
Tell you
crown.
what.
You know how expensive they are?
I wouldn't wish that on
It's
anybody.
minted, look at that.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
So what do you got going on now? What's
I busted. I was eating some Greek food, and you know those olive things. I thought
Those olive
New
things.
fang dangle
they're
things.
Very exclusive to Greece, Olive, aren't they?
no, I thought they would be denutted. You know, they'd be
Denutted?
I thought they'd be.
You mean?
Yeah, the seed.
the seed?
You mean seedless?
I thought the seed would be out.
You mean seedless, not
Seedless.
denutted.
Seedless. Yeah, denutted. So, here's what happens. I plough on, regardless. I'm starving. Get it in, crunch, boom. So the back coral, spit it out. Oh, my tooth comes out as well.
That must have been
This is just before Liverpool game, the Monday game last week. Because I was getting all bedded in, ready to go.
Right.
Oh mate, so the nerve was sticking out, all that palaver. Put my tongue in it. Ow. Ow. Hey, so fortunately,
Ow.
because I live in the Republic of Cambridge, there's a dentist right across the street.
Right.
So I go ploughing in, right? I go in. I demanded I demanded that the dentist saw me immediately.
There's a lot of teeth coming in.
Hey,
He was doing that as he saw you coming in, your beauty. Look at all these
so
national.
I gave him my insurance card, which wasn't the right insurance.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm back.
He's back.
Oh
Did you finish off your pints afterwards?
no,
Wow.
no. He speared me
Well,
with
he
an
was.
Novocaine. Absolutely.
You did try though, because you went like that and they just all ran down
Yeah, that was a bad.
Stevie's bloke.
the bucket.
Hey, there's
bucket
another tale to this because Stevie and I used to go to the same dentist, and because we're working at the rest, we go at the same time.
Right.
And I've seen that boy in some positions, by the way. Do you remember when Doc Miola had you lying on your back?
Tell you what, I hate the dentist. I'm really scared of the dentist.
Are you?
Oh my! When I was a kid, we used to have a butcher of a dentist called Mr. Terrace. Oh my!
What do they do?
Or was he a butcher or a dentist? What was he?
It's not like they had Novocaine.
Part-time.
Well, for a start, it used to be gas,
Right.
which was awful. You imagine getting a big mask on, right?
Well,
And you're
boys
not
have gas when
completely
they get their
out.
stuff
You're not
done.
completely out.
Yeah.
And then you come to and there's blood everywhere, and you're like, oh, that. And he's like, you'll be all right, don't worry about it. You're like,
So he was one of the nicest
sitting on the
dentists
bus.
in
And by the
Scotland.
way, you had to go home on the bus. So I'm getting on the bus with my mum, and I'm sat on the bus, and there's like blood and everything still pouring out your face.
Those were the days, Stephen.
And everybody's like, oh, he beat the dentist. Oh, no. No, what makes you think that?
Well, you probably go,
Oh, it was awful.
oh, this is
It was an absolute butcher.
All right.
So ever since then,
Right.
every time I go to the dentist, I'm like holding,
scared.
I'm holding onto the chair like this.
Then it's a nice area. They've got the TV on the roof and all that sort of stuff.
Not at our dentist, they haven't.
What? Where do you go?
You've got a TV on the roof and you lie down. You can watch what you want.
He's so posh.
I've never once. I've never once said
so
that.
posh, he's
Are you
embarrassing.
kidding?
No.
I've never once had a TV and a dentist on the roof.
Yeah, that's where they put them.
It's called the ceiling, Stephen, not the roof.
You know how you avoid going to the dentist, right?
Yes.
You don't eat nutted olives,
No.
as you call them.
Out. No, not
Denutted. They gotta be denutted.
They've
Got to be
Be-
denutted.
You've got to ask
seedless.
for them
We've got
before.
to get so many olives for Christmas.
Denutted.
Question for Stevie, final one. What is your favourite flavour of crisps?
Oh my goodness, what a question.
That's an impossible answer.
Stevie,
Say
obviously.
all of
have-
them.
It
All of them.
depends.
The mood.
Correct.
So,
The mood.
say you're in a dour mood, you need cheering up. What's a cheery up crisp?
Well,
Any
no, it
crisp.
doesn't work that way.
No?
No.
That's just
No, it just
Budweiser.
depends. It's not- you know, sometimes it's beef and onion.
Right.
Other times it'll be roast chicken. Presently it's cheese and onion. The wife's just come home with loads of them.
Okay.
Smoky bacon.
When you say loads of them, how many are we talking?
Oh, depends how many she buys.
How many does she buy at a time? Like 12? A dozen?
Yeah, a dozen packs.
So we're talking a dozen. So what, 100,
dozen
144 crisps?
Well, in a normal setting, I'll probably have half a dozen.
pack, a dozen pack.
You'll have 6 packets of crisps.
Yeah, just in a normal.
Stevie, have you told the tale on here about when you thought you were sub and you were piling the crisps and the coke down you in the
Or
room?
pre-season.
Aye. That's a good tale.
I don't think we've got time for it, really.
Do you want to go home tonight?
That's a great story.
Oh, what a
Save
a
it.
teaser.
What a
All
clip.
right, we'll save
Save
it.
it.
Save it. Save
What a
it.
teaser.
Are you on tomorrow?
No,
No.
Oh, what a teaser.
No.
Well, we'll find out. Is it in the book?
it's in the book.
Five
5 league titles and a packet of crisps.
Hey,
There you go.
any flavor.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Any flavour.
The Champions League draw is done and dusted, and now we know how the group stage is set. Paul Mariner joining me as we just get quick reaction to this one. Let's start off with the first 4 groups, and that's groups A to D, and you will see that groups B and C looking very juicy. Indeed, Group C is where you'll find last season's runners-up, Liverpool. Maras, your thoughts?
Very difficult. It's a very, very difficult group. I mean, Tottenham will go difficult with Barcelona, PSV and Inter. I mean, people are expecting Inter to do well. But PSG, Napoli, Liverpool and Red Star Belgrade, that is a very difficult group. There's no two ways about it.
All right, well, shall we move on now to the next set of groups that are coming up? And that is where you will find the Premier League champions, the reigning ones that is so far, Manchester City. Some already saying that they're going to have a cakewalk in this
they are
one.
gonna
And
have
then the champions, Real Madrid, in Group G with Roma,
Yeah.
CSK Moscow and Victoria Pilsen.
Yeah, Manchester City will skate through. Bayern will skate through. Real Madrid, yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but Real Madrid should be okay. I mean, if you look at the Group H, I mean, Juve, Man United, that's a little bit difficult. Great for Ronaldo going back to his old club, but that's a difficult group. Valencia started out slowly in La Liga, but I think they'll come good. So that's not an easy group for Man U.
Not an easy group, indeed, but we just definitely want the games
Yeah.
to get started. For more reaction from the Champions League draw, you know to keep it here at ESPN FC. Now that we know how the UEFA Champions League group stage is set, Paul Mariner is joining me as we look closely at Group B, because Maras, this is a juicy one. Barcelona,
Yep.
Tottenham, PSV Eindhoven, and Inter Milan, who I have picked to be a bit of a dark horse, but this
Yeah.
is looking like a tough group, isn't it?
It is early doors in the season, so it's hard to judge how teams are going to pan out. But Inter, you're right, Lex. Everybody's expecting Inter to have a very good season. It's going to be a difficult game. Always difficult games against Italian opposition. It looks like the easiest game is going to be against the champions of Holland. We never say that very often.
But don't count them out just yet.
But what glamorous games though, Barcelona and Tottenham. I mean, they've got fantastic games. You know, Spurs, Inter Milan. They're going to be great games. I'm sure that the boys in London are not particularly happy with this draw. But
Well, that's what I was going to ask you on this one. Of course, focusing close to the Premier League, which you know you're very close to as well. How do you see Spurs faring in this group? Because they have constantly been, flirting with the top of the
Yeah.
Premier League, but the lack of signings in the summer transfer window,
Yeah.
many believe they don't have the edge so
right.
far. How do you see
It
them
doesn't seem to have affected. I mean, last week against United, they were, second half they were fantastic. In the Champions League last season, they playing at Wembley, which was a little bit unfamiliar to them. They played very, very well indeed. I mean, remember the great games against Real Madrid. So they can rise to the occasion. But against Barcelona, it's very difficult to go against Barca. So it's going to be difficult for them. As you said, your tip to be a surprise Inter Milan, that they may just be spoilers, but it's going to be a tough group for Tottenham.
Definitely, indeed. Thanks so much to Paul Mariner for this one. We definitely cannot wait for all the games to start. Paul Mariner is joining me because we're talking England, so we had to get a former England international, Mazza, in the house. Gareth Southgate has named his squad for England's upcoming games against Spain and Switzerland, the match against Switzerland being a friendly match. But we're, of course, looking ahead to the Euro 2020. Now, let's have a look at the squad. Looking at the defensive side of things, because there is that highlighted name, Luke Shaw. He's back there. Last played for England in March last year. But Maris, what do you make of his inclusion, and how do you see him playing a role in the defence?
I'm delighted with the inclusion. I think it's well deserved. I think it's a position, Young played there and various other players played there, Danny Rose. But I think it's so well deserved. Look, he's gone through so much adversity. His injury, the manager, Jose Mourinho, has not been exactly kind to him. Some of the fans have said he's been a little bit overweight. But I'll tell you what I've seen early on in this season, he gets up and down that field fantastically well. He's showing that warrior spirit.
So you think Southgate will go the back three?
I think he will. I think it worked very, very well. I think if you look at the systems that most international teams play nowadays, it does warrant to play that back three. I think the back. I hope it goes with Gomez. I've been very impressed with him. I've been talking to Stevie Nicol about it. Stevie's not quite sure yet. I said, look, I love the kid. He's poised alongside Van Dijk. Maybe that's a big influence. But Stones, Gomez and Harry Maguire for me at the back. I'd like to see Walker playing in his natural position, which for me is that wing-back role on the right-hand side, as he did, when you see him absolutely blistering forward against Arsenal, particularly, blowing by people. If you've got Walker on that side and then Luke Shaw on the other side, I think you've really got something to work with.
All right, well, let's have a look at some of the rest of the squad now in the midfield positions. There you will see another name that might be a sight for sore eyes, and that's Adam Lallana. Maris, what did you make of his inclusion?
A little surprised, to be honest. I think... look, the one thing that we missed in the World Cup is that playmaker. If you think about Modric, the way that he absolutely ran the show, we don't really have that true number 10. Now, can Lallana be that true 10? I'm not quite sure, because then you've got to start thinking about, well, where does Dele Alli play? What do we do with Lingard, who I thought was fantastic in the World Cup? Harry obviously play up front, but will he play somebody a little bit closer to him? Not quite sure about that. It's interesting to me. I think that's the reason why he wants to integrate him back into the squad, because he can put his foot on the ball and he can keep us playing in that 10 role. So I think it's nice for once that we're talking about options for Gareth Southgate. He has got a little bit of depth in his squad. Like you say, Lex, it's going to be interesting. Switzerland is a friendly, and then Spain is a little bit more serious of a game. But I like the balance of the squad. I really do. I haven't said that for a long, long time.
Wow, Paul Mariner enjoying the balance of the squad. Like I said, there are some omissions. No Jamie Vardy, no Gary Cahill, and no Ashley Young. He has been dropped for that one, but we'll see indeed how this squad gets on, as we know England are preparing for the Euro 2020. AC Milan needing to bounce back after their defeat at Napoli. Even though Napoli is a tough place to play, they are definitely going to rue throwing away that 2-0 lead. Paul Mariner joined me for this one, because it doesn't get easier for Milan, as now they will face Roma. Now, there's a lot of talk about Gattuso and his style of play, and I guess his stubbornness in wanting to play from the back, and whether or not he has the right players to do so. So
correct.
Would you advise them, Paul Mariner? You've been a manager. Does he stick to it?
Look, if he feels with the group that he's got that he can build out to the back, he can get it into them, then he's got to stick with it. But if he hasn't, it's very, very dangerous, because if you lose, in Italy, when you're 2 up and you lose 3-2, that's not good. It'd be cut some slack because it's his first game of the season and so on and so forth. But coming up against Roma, if they lay the trap and Milan go down very, very early, it's a dangerous game. From experience, as you say, in Toronto, we had a coach that wanted to build from the back. The players were not able to build out to the back. They were absolute nervous wrecks before they went out on the field. The confidence was shattered. So you're already up against it. So you've got to be very, very careful. I'm a person that I look at the players that I've got, then I fit the system to the players, and then I try and slowly but surely, eke out and move players in and out. But it's a dangerous game that he's playing.
Well, with that said, and given the fact that we have seen some of the players looking uncomfortable in that sort of style of play, how long do you give him then? Because Antonio Conte was in the crowd in that Napoli game, and a lot of people have been linking him with the job. So how long do you give Gattuso to continuously press his style upon the players?
Look, it doesn't matter what league you're in. It's all about results. If he gets beat, continues to get beat playing this way, then there's no future for him. But if the hierarchy see that there's some form of improvement, yes, this is starting to work. But you've got to look at Donnarumma. You've got to look right at the back. If it's going to be started by the goalkeeper, who in my view is a top goalkeeper, maybe you shatter his confidence. Maybe he's not the guy to start it, which is a terrible thing. So, like I say, it's all about confidence. When you put a system into players, you look at Sarri at Chelsea, they seem to be enjoying the system. But if the players are questioning themselves before they go on the football field, it's a recipe for disaster. So how long has he got? He's got as long as he can realise, yes, I've got the right players to do this, or I've not. It's up to him to sort it out.
All right, well, something's definitely got to give at some point. Make sure to tune into Roma against AC Milan. That game is on ESPN Plus at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Alexis Younes alongside Paul Mariner. Quick reaction to the UEFA Champions League group stage draw. Maras, let's focus on Group H. That is where you will find Manchester United, who are currently, I guess we can call them the embattled Manchester United, as well as Juventus, Valencia, and Young Boys. Let's start off with your quick reaction. I know what you're saying, Cristiano Ronaldo to visit the old club.
Yeah, that's a wonderful storyline. I've got Juve winning it this year, purely and simply because of the Allegri's depth in the squad. Ronaldo going there, I think, is a difference maker. Manchester United, in the present turmoil that they're in, this is a difficult group. You know, if you look at Valencia, finished fourth last year in La Liga. They've not absolutely set the world on fire in La Liga this year. Early days, yes, we know that, but that could be a difficult place to go
could cause trouble.
And play. I mean, obviously, you look at Young Boys, you think the Young Boys, that will be, you know, meat and drink to the likes of Man United. But I see I see Juventus most certainly winning the group. I'd like to think that Manchester United can get by Valencia and Young Boys, but there's no certainty with what's going on at Manchester United at the moment, so that's a big problem. But who knows, when the Champions League comes around, maybe they'll rise to the occasion. We'll have to wait and see.
So you want to close one eye and pick Manchester United to go through with Juventus?
Yeah, I mean,
or are you holding off?
Well, looking at Valencia, I think they can beat them. You know, it's always difficult to go to Old Trafford and play. Young Boys, I don't think they'll be too much of an issue. So it's between Valencia and Man United for that second spot.
All right, thanks so much to Paul Mariner. There you have it. Make sure to track everything from the group stages of the Champions League and onwards here at ESPN FC. Paul Mariner is joining me as we now know how the Champions League group stage is set, and we are focusing on Group C. Another very juicy group, Paul Mariner.
Very juicy.
PSG, Napoli, Liverpool, last season's runners-up, and Red Star Belgrade. Maris, your thoughts on this group?
It's a very difficult group. It really is.
For who?
Well, I'm just focusing on Liverpool. I mean, you know, that's a very good point. You know, in Paris and in Italy, they may be thinking, oh, we've got to go to Anfield. You know, it's a difficult group for everybody. Red Star Belgrade, they play with passion. The fans are so passionate. Difficult place to go and play. PSG, as we know, are built. They'll run away with Ligue 1. They're going to be built to go further in the Champions League. Whether they will do in this group, it's anybody's guess. Napoli have started out guns blazing in Serie A, so some people are saying that they may win the Scudetto this year. So that just tells you the level of competition in this group. It's difficult for Liverpool.
Too early to ask for your top two to go through?
I'm going to stick with Liverpool. I believe in Klopp. I think
top the group?
I'm going to say they'll top the group, yeah. And I can't choose between PSG and Napoli. I think Napoli may go through, actually.
Ooh, that will definitely not make the PSG faithful happy at all. Thanks so much, Paul Mariner, for everything from the UEFA Champions League group stage. You know, keep it here at ESPN FC. Paul Mariner joining me right now, and he is just absolutely gassed up because it's Premier League predictor, Mazza. Let's start off now. Leicester City, Liverpool.
Leicester have actually started the season rather well, but not as well.
Big but.
Not as well as the Reds. They're going to keep the run going. They're going to keep winning. Liverpool.
Few have started this season as good as the Reds, and that's why they are where they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Liverpool for this one. Brighton against Fulham.
Yeah, fabulous win for Fulham last week. I was surprised by Brighton. I thought Chris Houghton got his team really organised. I'm going to say, because they're at home, I'm going to say Brighton win.
I'm going to pick Brighton to bounce back as well. Fulham, I know and I applaud their fight back last time, but I think Brighton might be a little tougher at home. Chelsea, Bournemouth.
Eddie Howe, got his boys together, know the system, well drilled, been together, 5 or 6 years now. But I think Chelsea, with the way that Sarri's got them playing, Hazard's back, playing fantastic football, I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win.
I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win either, Maras, but we'll see if we're right. Crystal Palace, Southampton. I know you will be recording this one because you can't wait to tune in.
Well, I thought Palace were very unfortunate against Watford. I really did. I thought Watford should have gone down to 10 men or even 9 men. Saints struggling under Sparky. I think Royal get his boys fired up for this. I think Palace win.
I agree with Saints struggling under your friend Sparky, as you like to call him. But you know what? I think they have a little fight in them. I do know Crystal Palace. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to sit on the fence in this one. Sit on the fence in this one. Everton, Huddersfield.
Everton surprised me, actually. Playing some decent football. No Richarlison, though, he'll be suspended. They'll miss his goals. But talking about goals, Huddersfield cannot score goals. They're very cumbersome going forward. I mean, at Goodison, I've got to say Everton win.
And who am I to disagree with you, Paul Mariner? I'm going to go with Everton as well in this one. West Ham United.
Oh.
Ooh, don't they need a prayer up against Wolves?
Well, Wolves, as we saw against Man City, a little bit, the handball was a bit dodgy, but West Ham need a win. I mean, they need a win, but I can't see it. I think Wolves are coming very, very organised. They'll sit behind the ball. I'm going to say draw.
I'm going to say draw too.
I can't see anything.
It's hard to choose a win for West Ham at home. Manchester City, Newcastle.
Well, Rafa's going to park the bus. Absolutely no danger. We saw that last week against Chelsea. Man City will be smarting from that draw last week. They want to put it right. City will blow them away.
City at the Etihad, indeed. Cardiff City against Arsenal now.
This is a bit dodgy for me. I obviously want Arsenal to win. I think they will win, but Warnock, we know what he's going to do with his side. He's going to sit in. He's going to park as many buses as he possibly can. I think Arsenal going forward will have a little bit too much. I'm going to say the Arsenal win.
I'm going to go with the Gunners as well, just because I don't want to see you cry. Speaking of dodgy, Paul Mariner, big game for Jose Mourinho. Burnley, Manchester United.
Well, Burnley haven't set the world on fire. Very strange for Sean Dyche's side, conceding goals, losing games. Obviously, we know what's going on at Story. We've been talking about it all week on the show about Manchester United. I think, to be honest, I think United find something, and I think they just get it done. I'm going to say 1-0.
You see, that's exactly what I said about Manchester United last week before the Spurs game.
So
and here
did
I am saying again, but I guess they're doing the same thing over and over. It's called insanity with the same
This is going to be a cracking game.
Watford Spurs.
This is going to be a cracking game. Watford, unbeaten. They won again in the week in the Cup. That's a great habit to have in any football club. But Tottenham, what they did second half against Man United, they'll want to keep that going. They'll want to repeat. And I think Tottenham have got too much. But it's going to be a cracking game.
I think Tottenham were able to silence some critics against Manchester United, and I think they can continue to do so against Watford, albeit away. Thank you so much to Paul Mariner. We'll see if we know what we're talking about when the games actually do kick off this weekend. Make sure to track all the news right here at ESPN FC. We had to get Paul Mariner in on the Serie A fever as well. So he's joining me as we tackle Serie A Predictor. Maras, let's start off with this one that looks nice on paper indeed. AC Milan up against Roma.
Looking forward to it. Really looking forward to this. Gattuso already coming under pressure really early in the season. Can he sort his tactics out? Roma coming in. Fantastic draw the other day. I think it's a difficult game for AC Milan. I'm going for Roma win.
Roma definitely know how to fight back, but I think AC Milan desperately needs something from this game. You know what? I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm going to go for a draw in this one again. It's hard to choose between the Bologna-Inter Milan. Let me just make my pick right now.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Inter Milan looking decent. They'll be fine.
Oh, as simple as that.
Yep.
Parma, Juventus, any
the
chance?
The juggernaut that is Juventus, obviously Ronaldo coming into town. I mean, they've got so many weapons, Juventus. I just cannot see this anything other than a Juventus win.
I guess the only thing to bet on is if Cristiano Ronaldo will finally score for them.
He
won't be at home, so that
won't.
pressure won't be on it, but we know that he loves some pressure. Anyways, Lazio against Frosinone.
Well, again, it's fairly unusual for me. I've been going for all away wins here, but this time I'm going to go for a home win. I just think Lazio way too strong.
It is a little hard to choose against Lazio, especially at home against Frosinone. Sampdoria, Napoli.
Yeah,
You
another.
love you some Napoli.
I do actually. I really like what they're doing. I think they've got some exciting players. Obviously, coached very, very well. I'm going with Napoli. I'm going for an away win.
I'm going to go for an away win as well.
Ooh.
We'll just make Carlo Ancelotti a very happy man. Thanks so much to Paul Mariner for joining us on this one. Make sure to catch all the action from the Serie A across our networks here at ESPN. It's time for a different kind of Champions League predictor. Paul Mariner joining me as we're going to get our picks for winner, top scorer, surprise team, and the biggest loser. Now, before everyone gets their knickers in a twist, we know it's early, but we
Very
need to get
early.
out of the blocks quick, don't
Exactly.
we? All right.
Of course we do.
Who do you foresee winning it, Tom?
Well, I've been saying it for 3 years, and I'm going to stick with it purely and simply because Allegri has built the side. The depth of the squad is fantastic. I'm going with, guess who? Juventus.
Oh, did Cristiano Ronaldo make you change your mind there a little,
Just a little bit.
All right, well, guess who I'm going with? Real Madrid. It's hard to choose
Really?
against them right now. It's hard to
Wow.
choose against them.
4 on the belt.
Mariner.
4
yeah,
on the belt.
why not? They can do it. Top scorer.
Surprise, surprise. Have a guess.
Oh.
My boy,
Lionel Messi. All right, I see that.
He's on pens, free kicks, you name it, he's on everything.
He's just Lionel Messi.
He's Lionel.
Here's who I'm going with my top scorer. Gareth Bale, because the
Whoa.
man is scoring for fun. Casually, I feel like he's slipping
Yeah,
under the radar.
yeah.
Not anybody's paying attention. And with Real Madrid winning, in my opinion, Cristiano Ronaldo gone. Don't sleep on my friend right here.
You're making a lot of sense.
Don't sleep on my
Surprise
friend.
team.
Surprise
team. Now then, surprise team is going to be maybe not too much of a surprise because of what they're doing and what they've done.
Oh,
Napoli.
Napoli.
Yes, I think that they're going to surprise a few people. That you don't want to be in a group with Napoli.
I think we have a theme going on here because you see, my surprise team
Oh.
is Inter Milan. They have made some changes
Yeah.
and come back. Mauro Icardi, I'm a huge fan of
Yeah.
him. He's been waiting so
Yeah.
long to play at this level. Finally, they are only 25 years old. I'm going to go with
And
Inter
in
Milan.
pot 4 as well. You
And
don't
in
want-
pot 4, exactly. So I think that they will surprise a few people.
No, this-
Biggest loser now.
Okay, the biggest loser, purely and simply of what's going on at the football club,
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to go with, this will be a big loser.
Manchester United. Wow.
Purely and simply because of the turmoil with Pogba and Mourinho and the way the pre-season's gone, the way that the season started in the Premier League. Maybe it's not such a surprise, but to me it would be a massive surprise.
Exactly. Not much of a surprise. This one's going to be a bit of a surprise, and I can't wait to get all the hate that's going to come with it. I'm going with Liverpool.
No
I don't think
chance.
lightning's going to strike in the same place twice. Yes, they may go ahead and win the Premier League as I predicted or chose them to, but I think the Champions League and the Premier League might be a little too much for the Reds in one season. There you have it.
Wow.
Bring on the hate. We can take it. Thanks so much to Paul Mariner, who went with his safe picks. I always like to stick my neck out. And you can continue watching here on ESPN FC.